Hello, dear students. I am Dr. Shikha Pandey, Associate Professor from Institute of Aeronautical Engineering. So today I am going to discuss about the waste management, and it's a main focus on the Swatch Bharat Abhiyan, like Clean India mission, which Indian government has adopted to clean the city and clean Bharat. Now, so let's start this lecture with the basic definition of solid waste. Like, what is this solid waste? So, due to the rapid population growth and urbanization in developing countries, this has led people generating more quantities of solid waste, and that will leads to the degradation of environment because of their bad effects. And this waste is normally disposed in the open dumping area that will create nuisance and environmental degradation also, and it can be a major risk. It will causes a very high risk to the health and the environment and the management. That's why the management of solid waste is important in order to minimize the adverse effect that will be posed by this indiscriminate disposal of solid waste. So due to the rapid population growth and enormous urbanizations and in the developing countries, this will lead towards the people generating more amount of solid waste. And what will happen with this solid waste is that it will be create environmental degradation. The fate related with this solid waste generation is that it will create environment degradation, and this waste can be normally disposed in open dumps that will going to create some nuisance and environmental degradation also. It may causes a major risk to public health and environment. It will be poses as very high risk to the environment and the public health, because this open dumping of solid waste will create many nuisance and many diseases like that. And that's why this management of solid waste is very much important in order to minimize its adverse effect that will be related with the public health or with the environment. So that's why this solid waste management is very much important. Now let's start. So let's discuss about the solid waste. Means what is solid waste and how this waste has created. So if we can define it as like the some unwanted manner, that is unwanted matter, unwanted things that is generated by the society, and it will don't have any economic value. And from that point of view of the first order, means thing which is discarded, means those thing we cannot use it again, means reuse is not possible. That then we will discard that thing is called as waste. Means anything, any matter, any unwanted matter that has been to be discarded, means it's no more beneficial. So this can be called as solid waste. Means anything that is no more beneficial and it is unwanted totally, and that has been generated by the society only that way, and this thing also not have any economic value. So that thing is called as waste. And the waste generated capacity of India is the per capita waste generation, like waste generated by each individual per day is 0.5 kg to 2.5 kg. That is the basic per capita waste generation rate in for India is like 0.25 to 2.5 kg per day. And we can also, and we solid waste management now comes to the point. The next thing is the solid waste management. So solid waste management is that kind of discipline that will be associated with lots of things. First of all, from its generation point of view, generation of solid waste, then it's a safe storage, collection, transport or transfer or processing and disposal of solid waste in a way that will be the best address the range of public health, conservation, economic, aesthetic, engineering and all other environmental considerations. So this can be called as solid waste management. Like solid waste management, if we are going to explain, it is a management of a solid waste from its first stage to last stage, from the point of its generation, then it's a collection, transportation, then it's a processing and disposal of waste, and then again for the in that way that will be a range of public health that will not causes any harm to the public health, conservation, economic values also, aesthetic values also, engineering and other environmental consideration should be there, then this process is called as management of solid waste. Means like management of solid waste in this way, that will be involved with the proper collection, disposal, and then in this manner, like it will be a environmental friendly manner, is called as solid waste management. So now comes to the next thing. This is like a types of solid waste in India, which how many type of waste is there. So first of all, we'll segregate all waste in a different categories, because if we will talk about total waste, it will consider all kind of waste. Means anything that is discarded, that don't have any specific use properties. So those waste, these are the different type of waste. Like first one is the MSW, municipal solid waste. This will include like a residential waste that is generated by from the residential activities, like restaurants, hotel, and all this. Industrial waste is the waste generated from the industries. And next is the hazardous waste, means those waste that is generated from any industry and will be have hazardous characteristics, like this will create some nuisance, this will having a characteristics of ignitability, infectious, or highly reactive, this kind of nature. And biomedical waste is those waste that is has been generated from the hospitals. And next is the agrochemical waste, agro waste that has been generated due to this agriculture activity. It is like a bagasse, husk. All these are the example of this agriculture waste. And then the mining waste that is generated by the mining activities. So it is that waste that has been generated by the mining activities. So these are the different types of waste. We have categorized the waste in different types. Then only this management will be possible of this solid waste. Because if we'll first step is the segregation of solid waste. So segregation will involve the segregation of waste into their different categories, like industrial waste is in different categories, and hazardous waste. And after segregation, then we will think, then you can understand which disposal method is best for this solid waste. Then we will take it for its disposal practices, like it is incineration is important, or composting should be there, or waste to energy should be there, or recycling should be there. What should be the fate of that special waste will done by this type of segregation only. Now comes to the next thing, that is about the Swatch Bharat Abhiyan, that is the Clean India Mission. Clean India Mission has been launched in 2014 with the government of India, that will aims of featuring a clean India. That will be aim for featuring a clean India by 2nd October 2019. That will be like a fitting tribute to Mahatma Gandhi on his 150th birthday. So in the year 2014, on 2nd October, this Swatch Bharat Abhiyan has been launched to clean the India as like a Clean India Mission. And this will be contains the knowledge on indeed successful in acknowledging the unhygienic condition of India. So this will take a successful in acknowledging the unhygienic condition in India. The Swachh Bharat Mission has to lay emphasis on providing dignified livelihood to all sanitation workers and informal waste pickers, which is directly in line with the Mahatma Gandhi vision of ensuring equality and inclusion for all sections of society. So this Swachh Bharat Abhiyan has been has the main aim to clean the India in a hygienic manner. And the second thing is that Mahatma Gandhi has a vision for ensuring equality to all persons of the society, like those who are rag pickers, those who are sanitation worker, all have a equality with all sections of the society. So this Abhiyan is now successful in India, and it is successfully running in whole India, and this will be a very good towards this Clean India Mission, because it has shown a very good results. Because after this implementation of this Abhiyan, this Clean India Mission, many station, railway station, airports, everything is clean now. Now let's discuss the main objectives of this Clean India Mission. So the first one is the elimination of open defecation, eradication of manual scavenging, modern and scientific manual solid waste management to effect behavioral change regarding health sanitation practices. Next objective is that it will generate awareness about sanitation and its linkage with public health. Next is the capacity augmentation for urban local bodies to create an enabling environment for private sector participation in capex like capital expenditure and opex like operation and maintenance. So these are the different objectives that has been associated with this Clean India mission, and these are the main. First one is the elimination on open defecation. This is very much important because in a village area this is very much commonly practicing, and the manual scavenging is also very infectious, and it will be for a local lower people, and this way they will discriminate the persons also. So in this mission they have made equality for every person of the society. Next is the solid waste proper modern and scientific way for this solid waste management. This will be to effects behavioral change regarding healthy sanitation practices, and then it will generate awareness about sanitation and its linkage with public health. Capacity augmentation of for urban local bodies, and it will create an enabling environment for the private sector participation like capital expenditure and then operation and maintenance. Means this Clean India movement will enable some private sectors also in the participation for this with the government of India, and they will put some expenditure and operation and maintenance for this Clean India mission Abhiyan. And this will be now successful in India. Now comes to the next thing, that the generation of solid waste in India. Why this Clean India mission is important for this country only? Why this there is a too much enormous too much havoc on this topic? Because due to this solid waste management is very much important in India, and due to more populous country, due to its sudden increase in population, this country has become a more waste generated country, because the per capita waste generation is like 2.5 kg per day by a single person. So India is the second largest nation in the world with a population of 1.21 billion, and that will be approximately 18% of the world's human population. That will be mostly 18% of world human population. So this is like that. It is having a 1.21 billion population, and the proportion of population residing in urban areas had increased from 27% in 2001, then 31% in 2011, and likely to reach 50% by 2030. By it is going to be increased more, because as the trend shows that the proportion of population that is residing in urban areas is now going to be increased from 27% to 31% up to 2011, and the next up to 2030, if we'll predict, it is going to increase more. Next is the India is facing a stark contrast between its increasing urban population and available services and resources also. So the solid waste management is one such important service where India has an enormous gap to fill, because this solid waste management is very much important in India, and it has a very long gap on this solid waste management, and it is estimated that urban India generates about 1.5 lakh tons of solid waste every year. So in urban areas, India will generate around to 1.5 lakhs of tons per day. It has been estimated that already India is producing more waste. That's why this solid waste management is very much important, and that's why government has implanted this Clean India mission to clean the India and to Swatch Bharat Abhiyan. This will be a very good success of this Swatch Bharat Abhiyan, because this will be focused on the proper management of solid waste, cleaning of everywhere, and they will add some different some more scientific way to dispose of solid waste that is generated now. Now comes to the per capita waste generation. If we'll talk about the per capita waste generation rate in India, it has increased from the past year, like 0.44 kg per day in 2001, and in 2011 it is half kg now. So that the per capita waste generation rate is also increased, and this waste generation rate in India Indian cities shows that will be range between 200 to 870 grams per day, and it's depending upon the region's lifestyles and the size of the city. The per capita waste generation is increased by about 1.3% per year in India. So this is a generation rate of solid waste generation rate, because due to this modern lifestyle, modern way of living, this solid waste generation has been also increased. Due to this, due to the person has been dependency on more on the packed food items, more on the electronics item. Due to the more civilization, more gadgets is there, and due to more gadgets, more adaptation to the higher lifestyle, more waste generation has been increased, because everything will create some waste. In the paper, if we'll talk about the food waste, more papers, cardboards is there, because today's people is more focusing toward this packaging food materials. They are preservatives they needs, so that's why. And where more gadgets, more electronic waste is also there, with more amount of consumerism, more amount of waste is there. That's why this waste generation has been increased in India, due to this modern lifestyle also. Now comes to the sources of solid waste. What is the different sources of this solid waste in India? So this solid waste are being produced since the beginning of the civilization. All we already have discussed, like from the beginning of the civilization we have more solid waste now. But now this due to this population growth, the waste generation has also increased. Population growth has increased this waste generation rate also. If we compare with the last 10-year data, obviously more population, more waste generation, and modern lifestyle will leads to more waste generation. And this solid waste has been increased due to rapid development in industrialization and urbanization. And there are some other different factors for the generation of more solid waste. Why this more solid waste generated in our country? So the main factor is that due to high population density, due to more population density, due to as India is having a very populous country, it's again sudden change in the population is there. That's why more solid waste is there. Then intensive land use for residential. For residential activities, more land use is there. And next is the commercial and industrial activity. So these two activity, commercial activity will also lead to production of more solid waste, and industrial activity, more industrial waste is there. And the different thing, municipal solid waste. This is the reason of the more solid waste. And now the reason from where this MSW has been arrived. MSW is the municipal solid waste, means municipal solid waste, like the waste generated by a household activity. So where is this municipal solid waste? So first is the residential quarter, then commercial markets like hotel and garage, institution, college, and next is the public place, open area, streets, parks, playgrounds, etc. So these are the areas from which this municipal solid waste has been generated. From residential quarter, commercial markets, institutions, public places, open area, streets, parks, playgrounds. Next is the what this municipal solid waste is again categorized into 5 different categories. First one is it will consist some food waste, because this is totally a residential waste or waste generated from any institution, offices. So the general waste that will come from this area is the first one is the food waste, then rubbish waste, and sometimes demolition and construction waste also. Some special type of waste, and then sewage and sewage sludge waste. So food waste will contain some domestic houses, hotels, markets, and consist of fruit, vegetable residue that results from the handling, preparation, cooking, and eating of the food. During the eating of food or cooking of the food, some items have been discarded. So these items will come under the category of food waste. These are the domestic house, hotel, markets, and that will consist of some fruit, vegetable residues. Next is the rubbish waste, means those which is rubbish, like we cannot recycle, we cannot reuse, means some, and this rubbish waste is of two types. First one is the combustible and non-combustible. Rubbish can be classified in two categories: combustible and non-combustible. Combustible and non-combustible. So what will happen with combustible waste? Combustible are those waste that can be burned, that we can be burned, and combustion is there, and non-combustible that we cannot burn. So for example of this combustible waste is the paper, cardboards, torn cloths, plastic, woods, etc. Non-combustible are those waste like glass, crockery items, aluminium tin cans, ferrous metals, or some construction waste. Next waste is a demolition and construction waste, means that will result from the construction activity, remodeling and repairing of residential, commercial building, and some industrial factories also. So this waste will include like dust, stone, concrete, bricks, steel pipes, etc. Means that waste that has been generated by any construction activity. Next is some special type of waste. This will include street sweeping, roadside litter, drainage debris, dead animals and abandoned vehicle parts. This will be coming under the special waste categories like some street sweeping is there, roadside litter is there, drainage debris, dead animals, abandoned vehicles. And next is the sewage, means that water. Sewage and sludge waste. Sewage is the dirty water and sludge waste is the sludge that has been filtered out from the sewage, and which is like a waste, and sometimes this sludge can be used in the agriculture activities. So these 5 type of waste that will be coming under the category of municipal solid waste. And after the categorization, then we'll think about its disposal practices, what to do with this waste. And next example of waste is the industrial waste, means those waste that has been originated from industrial activities. So industrial activities means like which industry, like chemical industry, waste generated from chemical industry, waste that is generated by the following things like chemical industries, metal and mineral processing industries, radioactive waste that are generated by nuclear power plants, from waste generated from nuclear power plants, and next is the fly ash that has been generated by the thermal power plant in a very large quantity. So, and next is the chemical industries. It will produce large quantity of hazardous and toxic material. Next waste production is the chemical industries. Chemical industries will produce a very large quantity of hazardous waste, because industrial waste sometimes called as hazardous waste, because all industrial waste, because treatment and disposal of industrial waste is different, because industrial waste will contain some chemicals, some metals is there, radioactive waste is there, next is the fly ash is there, hazardous waste is there, and some other industry will produce waste like some packaging material, rubbish, organic waste. So these are coming under different categories. These are not hazardous waste, but this waste is also generated by industrial activities. So if we'll talk about rubbish, we will burn it. Organic waste, we can do composting for this waste, and for metal, rubber, plastic, paper, some recycling will be there. For glass, recycling will be there. Wood, some recycling or reuse is there. Paints and dyes is there. But some industrial waste like hazardous waste is there. So hazardous waste disposal practices is entirely different with the MSW waste. That's why this segregation of waste is very much important, and the collection at its proper place, and segregation, and after segregation you think about its safe disposal. That's why all waste has been, first of all, categorization is there. Then after categorization, you will think about its safe disposal, means that kind of disposal that will not harm the environment. Next type of waste is the hazardous waste. So it is any type of solid waste or combination of waste that will possesses a substantial danger, that will causes a danger or now or in future to human beings or any plant, animal life, and it cannot be handled or disposed easily. So this kind of waste is called as hazardous waste. And disposal synergies from hospitals are a specific source as identified as hazardous solid waste. So disposals from any hospital like syringe is there, and a disposable item is there from any hospital is also categorized under the hazardous waste because it is highly infectious in nature. Highly infectious in nature. So those waste, with the handling of this waste, will causes some very much danger to any person, is called as hazardous waste. So next category is the ignitability. Ignitability means substance that will catches fire very easily. Means it can be easily inflammable below at 60 degrees Celsius also. So this waste is called a hazardous waste, and it can causes corrosion to any material, like any hard material. It will causes corrosion to a high grade steel also. High grade steel. So that's why this is called as corrosion. High grade steel, because it has a either its a pH is less than 1 or it is having a high basic, means it is more than 12. That's why it is a very corrosive in nature, means it can be easily react without a air contact also. It will form a chemical reaction any time also. Next is the reactive material, like it will undergo rapid reaction with water or any substance, and it will be going to release gases. So it is next characteristics is the reactivity, means it is very highly reactive in nature. It can go under rapid reaction with water or any other substances, and that will be going to release toxic gases also. Next is the toxic material, with some toxic material like some high heavy metals. Heavy metals is there. Toxic material means those materials that will contain some heavy metals, and these are like lead and arsenic, means these are very much toxic to human beings. So these those waste that will contain some toxic metals, and toxic metal are nothing but the heavy metals. And example of heavy metal is lead, arsenic, and nickel. So these are those waste that is having these characteristics will be come under the category of hazardous waste. Next type of waste is the biomedical waste. Biomedical waste is that type of waste that is generated during an diagnosis or treatment or immunization, or sometimes research on animals, model drug testing agency also. It consists of human anatomical waste and animal waste, etc. Means animal tissues waste. Animal tissue waste means due to handling of this waste will causes cotton is there, syringe is there. So with the handling of this waste, any person will get infection. That's why it's a proper management and handling very much important, and that's why they have categorized on the basis of characteristics waste in different categories. So biomedical waste is one of those categories, means those waste that is generated during the diagnosis, treatment, immunization, or sometimes research on the animal or model drug testing agency. Means waste generated from a hospital, nursing home, any institution, any R&D lab is called as biomedical waste, and it will be basically contents of some sharp needles. Anatomical waste is body fluid, culture of microbes, syringe, swab, bandages also. It may be highly infectious, and proper care should be taken to its disposal. For its disposal also, and a person who is handling this biomedical waste is also very much important to take proper care, because it will be very much infectious, and it can be make any disease to you. So that's it's a proper handling and management is very important. Now comes to the next thing that we are going to discuss about the effects of this solid waste, and that's why this solid waste management is very much important. So the effects, first of all, the garbage dumping place are breeding places for disease. Obviously, the places which is open dumping is there, that will be a good place for breeding of flies, and it will leads to disease like jaundice, diarrhea. And the next is the rat and pig roam and feed on garbage, and they are going to transmit disease like brain fever from pig to human beings, and plagues from rat. So these are very highly dangerous diseases. And solid waste may sometimes choke the drain and gully pits, that will be resulting in the waterlogging condition. And next, it will be going to turn in the breeding place of mosquitoes, and then causes malaria, dengue disease in human beings. And noxious fumes, some harmful gases is there that may pollute air due to burning of waste product, especially plastic containers. So dioxins will release due to the burning of plastic. Dioxins and furans is released due to the burning of plastic, and this is very much harmful noxious fume that may pollute the air due to burning of waste product. Urban and industrial solid waste often contains a variety of toxic chemicals that may enter into the food chain and affect both terrestrial and aquatic organisms. Urban and industrial solid waste was there that will contain some variety of toxic chemical which may going to enter into the food chain, and it will affect the terrestrial and aquatic organism. That's why this solid waste has lots of negative effect is there that will be affecting human life in if will enter into the food chain. Some disease it will be causing. It will be causing choke to the rains and gully pits. It will be creating nuisance fumes. Noxious fume is there that is going to pollute air due to burning of waste produces, especially plastic containers. So these are the different effects of solid waste. Now comes to the management. We are going to discuss about the management of this solid waste. Means what does management involve? So first of all, management involves with the first step from the generation of waste to its final disposal. From its generation to final disposal. So from its generation is like waste generation, then it's a collection, mode of collection, transportation, segregation of waste, and disposal technique is there. And this you can see in the picture. First of all, disposal of solid waste, transfer it to the processing unit, segregating it in different category of waste like it is industrial waste, hazardous waste, biomedical waste, municipal solid waste, which waste is there. And then it's loading to the vehicle, that is transportation. Next is it's a storage, and then it's storage and final disposal. So this step will make this solid waste management complete. Solid waste management will involve the management of waste from its early stage, like from generation, and then its collection, transportation, segregation of waste, and disposal of the waste. And collection of the solid waste involves many steps, and these steps are its disposal. First of all, disposal, then it's a segregation, then it's a transportation, then loading into the vehicles, like loading into vehicle for a safe place, and it's a temporary storage in the container, then it's a final disposal. And this solid waste management, solid waste management is also again involved with the waste minimization. Waste minimization is very much important. What is this waste minimization? Prevention of waste is created is known as waste reduction. So minimization of waste that will lead to waste reduction. Waste reduction will lead toward the minimization of waste. What will happen? Minimization of waste. So it is an important method in the waste management practices. This modern concept is based on the 3R. 3R is there. 3R means reduce, reuse, and recycle. The modern concept of municipal solid waste is based on the 3Rs: reduce, reuse, and recycle. And the method of avoidance including reuse of second-hand products, designing products in this way that it will be refillable or reusable, and then repairing broken item instead of buying new item. So these kind of practices, if we will adopt in our daily life, again this will become already we will becomes towards this waste minimization. If any normal person will go towards this avoidance of waste, like they can reuse some second hand products, designing products that should be designed in this manner that it can be refillable or reusable, and then repairing some broken items instead of buying new items. So this will lead toward this waste minimization. First of all, the process is if we first will try to avoid waste and then reduce the waste and reuse it, recycle, and then disposal should be there. This will be leads you towards the waste minimization. Next is the reduce, reuse, and recycle of raw material. What we'll do in this function? First of all, if a uses of raw material is reduced, the generation of waste also gets reduced. If we will do this reduction, if we'll think about the reduction of waste, obviously the generation of waste is already reduced. Next is the reusable. Reusable means refillable container should be there that can be discarded after use, can be reused. Means a refillable container should be there, so we can reuse this thing. And then rubber rings can be made from discarded cycle tubes. This is going to reduce the waste generation during manufacturing of rubber bands. So this will lead toward this 3R principle. This 3R principle will involve the reduce, reuse, and recycle purpose. With the reduction should be there. First of all, we should think about the minimization of this waste. In terms of avoidance, we will think about the reduction of the waste. Then refillable things we will practices to use, and then we'll think about the reuse of any product, recycling of any products. So this will lead towards this management of solid waste. So in this practices, this reduce, reuse, and recycle of raw material will takes you towards this recycling. So recycling means the reprocessing of any discard material. Reprocessing or reuse. Reprocessing. If we have to understand the fine line difference between this 3R. Recycling means processing of any discarded material. Reprocessing of any discarded material. This will be called as the recycling. Means reprocessing should be there into a new useful product. By the process of recycling, you can make a new product also. New products like that. Example is that old aluminum cans and glass bottles should be melted and recast into a new cans and new bottles. Preparation of cellulose insulation from papers. Preparation of automobile bodies and construction material from steel cans. So this 3R will save you, will help you in saving money also, energy, raw material, and it will reduces pollution also. That's why this 3R is very much important. Means more health benefits is associated with. It will save your money, energy, some raw material, and it will going to reduce pollution also. So that's why the adaptation of this 3R is very much important in this solid waste management practices. Now comes to the different disposal methods we are going to discuss, like what is the composting method, what will be the final disposal practices for the solid waste management, final disposal practices. So first one is the composting. Composting is the nature's way of recycling organics. Means composting, if we'll say, this will be a nature way of recycling any organic material. So when you compost, you will convert vegetable scrap, leaf, grass clipping, and other material into a nutrient-rich soil material. Next, you can use finished compost in your garden and around shrubs or other plants to help them grow. And composting also reduces the amount of materials that's needed to be disposed of, reducing those related costs also. This is a very cheap method and cost-effective method also, and easy to install. So this is called as composting. Composting is a nature's way of recycling any organic compounds, and this will lead to organic compounds like scrap, leaf, grass clipping, and other material into a nutrient-rich soil materials. And you can finish compost in your garden and around shrubs and other plants to help them grow. Then after this compost, you can use in your kitchen garden, in your household garden, so to make the other plants to grow. And it will also reduce the amount of material that is need to be disposed of, reducing those related costs also. Next step, we can adapt the conversion of waste to energy. This facility accept our solid waste and combust it at a very high temperature, and this will be going to produce heat, and that heat will use to convert it into the steam, and then the steam is used to run turbines that will generate electricity. So due to the this waste accept our solid waste and then combustion. Due to this combustion, very high heat is producing, and this high heat can be used to convert water into the steam, and then this steam is used to run turbines, and due to this turbine, energy is producing. This is going to generate electricity. This is a very good method of utilizing solid waste into a energy purpose, and this is practicing, I think, in most of the countries. And next point is that scrubber, filters, and other pollution control equipments is there that is going to reduce pollution that will be released during the incineration processes. Ash and other residues from this process are landfill. So the other processes, other residue that is generated from this activity, it has been landfill, and about 27% of marine municipal solid waste that is generated in the year is combusted, means that is combustible in nature. So if it will be combustible in nature, it can be combust at a very high temperature, and this will going to produce heat, and that is used to convert water into steam, and the steam is used to run turbines that will going to generate electricity. So this waste to energy conversion is a very good initiative, very good alternative method for the management of solid waste. Now next practices is the landfill. Landfill is the again a very old practices of decomposition of solid waste. Like today's landfill are very different from old ones, because people just dump their garbage in an open area. Now landfill are constructed landfill is there. Landfill is there in the outskirt of city, to strict with the it should be constructed with some environmental measures, and it will having some liners to protect groundwater also, because in previous one, when not constructed landfill is there, during the rainy season, the rainwater, due to the rainwater, the harmful substances from this solid waste will leach out into the rainwater, into the groundwater. So nowadays landfill has been constructed with a lining material. That lining material will protect groundwater, and within this hierarchy, landfilling waste is the lowest priority of the solid waste management option. So that's why this landfill is a very good practices now, and it should be adopted in almost every city. Previously, they are doing the open dumping of solid waste in the outskirt of city, but nowadays constructed landfill is there. They will collect methane from this landfill sources, methane gases, and the protection of groundwater is there with a thin lining is there. This thin lining is going to protect the groundwater also. So this lecture was about the Clean India Mission and Swatch Bharat Abhiyan and this solid waste management in India. Thank you for today's lecture.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.